Well, standing by for us, we have Frank Ucciardo at the United Nations in New York and Joseph Kim in Seoul. But let's go to Frank first. Frank, it appears the U.S. and North Korea are on some kind of a collision course for military action.
Yeah, so, these are the strongest words that we've heard from the Trump administration since he actually vowed to totally destroy North Korea back in the UN General Assembly. And, of course, here we have Nikki Haley hinting at the very same thing. Militarily, things are really at a fever pitch along the Korean Peninsula right now with the military buildup, by the U.S. and, of course, the joint exercises with South Korea and Japan. So it's really kind of at a state of brinksmanship now. And, Nikki Haley said, they had choices, but they're choosing, really to feed their nuclear aggression, and they're making choices which are very dangerous. These are probably the strongest words she has ever uttered with regards to North Korea.
Frank, instead of all-out military action against North Korea, what is the U.S. proposing?
Well, as you talked about just a few moments ago, she wants the world to cut all ties with North Korea. Now, basically, that means economic ties. That means kicking their workers out from any countries they happen to be in, and that would probably include China. And also just any kind of if they have an envoy in a country, kick their envoy out. So you have diplomatic ties cut, we have economic ties cut. And that's the strongest they've ever asked. They're asking the entire world just to totally cut off communications, isolate this country, totally ostracize them. That's going to be quite a tall order, though, when you consider people like Russia and China.
Frank, this meeting opened by saying this is North Korea's 20th ballistic missile launch this year, and this is the 13th time that the Council has met to discuss this issue. Will anything be different this time?
That is the problem. The problem is Russia and China. You have China expressing grave concern. They're saying, yeah, we oppose the launch. We're calling for restraint. And they're saying, look, we made a dual-track proposal a while ago, and China's not budging right now. They're saying, look, our proposal was dual-track, which is the U.S. dials back on their military presence in the peninsula right there in the Korean Peninsula. And when they do that, then North Korea will come around and start dialogue. They'll start talks. That doesn't appear that that's going to happen at this very moment. And really this whole thing almost seems to be in the hands of China. They're the ones that provide the oil to North Korea. Nikki Haley, during her speech, alluded to ship-to-ship transfers of oil and goods. Now, this whole thing may start to play out on the high seas. The U.S. could choose to interdict a ship going to North Korea, maybe from China, maybe from another friendly country, maybe from Bolivia, stop it and search it and stop whatever's on that ship from going to North Korea. So that is a very strong possibility at this moment. And of course, we have Russia in lockstep with China, urging dialogue, urging the dual-track approach, and Russia's not budging at all.
Well, Frank Ucciardo in New York, always a pleasure. Let's go over to Joseph Kim, who joins us from Seoul. Joseph, thanks for being with us. North Korea has just released photos of this rocket launch. Are there any indications, as the state media has reported, that this is a new type of missile?
Yes, the state newspaper released images regarding this new Hwasong-15 missile test, and as many experts have suspected and predicted, it was indeed launched from a mobile launcher. Now, this makes it so that what many people feared is that why was this test conducted in the middle of the night? And could it be that if something does happen militarily, that we could attack these launch pads, but this no longer seems to be the case. North Korea seems to be making the statement that they can do these preemptive strikes, whether it's any time of the day or with these mobile carriers. Now, another thing that came out of the newspapers as well as the state media yesterday is the fact that North Korea continues to say that they will begin development of these rocket weaponry systems. This is something that we haven't heard from the North Korean state media as of yet. So it does seem that there is some satisfaction regarding this new type of missile, what North Korea calls a new type of missile, and it could be a step forward in their weapons program.
What solutions does Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. have for North Korea's advancing weapons program?
Well, what we've seen from South Korea, U.S., as well as Japan these past few in recent moments is that they've been in coordination with one another. We heard that Trump talked with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe shortly after the rocket launch, as well as with South Korean President Moon Jae-in, and Moon Jae-in as with Abe. And all of them are on the agreement that they need to continue to maximize pressure as well as sanctions. But in addition to this, we've heard from different outlets, including the South Korean government, where they are saying that the room for dialogue, the door for dialogue, as well as from Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, that the diplomatic option is not closed. Now, this is in accordance to what other allies, such as China and Russia, have said, that they do need to find a peaceful and diplomatic solution to this. And it does seem that this is one avenue that the United States and North Korea have really not touched on. Now, South Korea has already offered for dialogue. North Korea has been silent on those offers. But in terms of the U.S. and North Korea, there hasn't been any proposals for official talks. So this does seem to be one avenue that the two countries really haven't tried to do. It could be a possibility to perhaps lower the tensions on the Korean Peninsula.